Hello, I am going to go and try and show you what a bus track is. I'm not necessarily going to show you how to set one up because I'm just using Logic, so this is just for generic use for any DAW. Just what is a bus? So a bus, I'll try and explain anyway, I'm pretty bad with words. But a bus track is a track that you can apply effects to that you can send other tracks to. So I'm just going to pull up my mixer window. There we go. So these are my audio tracks, the blue ones. The yellow ones are my bus tracks. The pink one is the stereo output. Purple one's the master. So we don't need to worry about the last two. We're going to be focusing at the moment on the yellow tracks. I've got one called the vocal bus, and I've got one which is the parallel compression bus. So why do you want to use a bus? So here is the first reason. I'll bring this view down for a moment. As you can see, I've got 3 tracks here. All of them have audio recorded onto them. It's just a vocal piece. I have the outputs of these tracks sent to the same bus. So you can see that they come. The output is down here. I can select the stereo output, but instead I have selected the bus number 2 as the output. This here is bus number 2, and on there I have all of my vocal processing. So I can now come down to this track and send it to the same bus with the same processing, and this one which also comes to the same bus with the same processing. The reason you would want to do that is that you can have multiple outputs, multiple tracks, send them all to the same effects chain instead of putting the effects on each individual track over here. So that saves you time. It means you get all of the same effects with exactly the same settings, and it saves your computer from struggling with CPU problems from having too many plugins open, so you can use the same plugins for different tracks. The other place that you would use before I move on, the other advantage of that is that I can come here to this track and have a flanger. I can come to this track and have a phaser. So for example, we start off with nothing on this track, just plain.
You're listening to the very best music. We are the best radio playing you nothing but the best music. This is the online radio experience, only at its very best.
So they're all getting the same processing, but each track has a different effect on it. So that is another bonus of having the bus track set up. The other one is for parallel effects. So I've got this vocal bus track sent to another bus track which has a compressor on it. So right here you can see I have a compressor, and the effects on here are really strong with a over 12:1 ratio fast attack and quite heavy on the threshold. So wait a minute, I will just bring that back up again. What is the point in putting the compressor on a bus? Well, it is called bus compression. It's also known as parallel compression. And if I play this...
With music for everyone, the ultimate station. Keep it locked.
You can see the needles going mad. I've got the send here, which is sending the amount of signal from this bus to that compressor bus. So if I dial this back...
Keep it loaded. Why not save us as your...
Nothing's happening. If I put it 50%, say...
your favourite. Then you can come back time.
You can hear it's getting fatter and it's getting more compression. Now if I put it 100%, that is the whole signal getting sent to that compressor. And it will sound like this.
And time again. Spread the word. Tell everybody about...
So that's quite harsh. So, dialing it back and to like 50%, you're just getting a small proportion, 50% of the track getting sent to that compressor. So it beefs it up and it makes it sound nicer. Some compressors, like this one, you don't need to put on a bus. They have a wet and dry control. Dry means no compression at all. Wet means 100% compression. and then you would set it in 50%. Not all compressors have that feature. And the other advantage of using it on a bus means that you can send lots of other different tracks to that same compressor. You can also set up a bus for reverb, which is another good thing to do. So I could come down here, bus, choose number 3, there's nothing on there. Come to my mixer window, bus 3 is here. I can apply the effect. I will choose a reverb, because reverb is probably one of the most obvious effects that you're going to hear. There's a default one there already. So we come here. At the moment, you'll hear nothing at all.
You're listening to the very best music.
I can dial in a tiny little bit of reverb.
You're listening to the very best music.
Or I could dial in a bit more if I want to, just turn the knob up.
You're listening to the very best music.
Or I can go for 100%.
You're listening to the very best music.
But that gives you control of how much. So now I can send all of my tracks to this reverb. Some I can send loads of it, some I can send just a little bit, or loads and loads, or whatever. So it gives you a lot more control over your effects. That is the other reason that you'd want a bus. I hope that has slightly cleared things up. It might not have done because I'm not good at explaining myself, but hopefully the way I've shown you there, you've learned something.